You know, every living thing, from a tiny insect to a giant tree, is constantly in a kind of conversation with the world around it. To survive, they have to notice what's happening and react. But how do they do it so well? Let's dive into the incredible systems that make all of this control and coordination possible.
Think about this for a second. You touch something hot, and your hand snaps back before your brain even gets the memo that says, "Ouch, that's hot." I mean, how is that even possible? Your hand is already out of danger while your brain is still playing catch-up.
Well, it all boils down to one simple thing. Survival is all about speed. When you're faced with real danger, there's just no time to sit around and think about it. Every single millisecond counts.
Right. Conscious thought is way too slow. It's like sending a package through the mail. The signal has to travel all the way up to your brain, get processed, a decision has to be made, and then a command gets sent all the way back down. By then, the damage is already done. The body needed a shortcut, a kind of biological express lane. And that brilliant shortcut is called the reflex arc. You can think of it like an emergency hotline. Instead of sending the danger signal all the way to headquarters, the brain, it creates a direct link. The nerves that feel the heat connect right to the nerves that move your muscles, and the whole exchange happens in the spinal cord. It's a local, lightning-fast circuit designed purely for survival. So, what's actually carrying these super-fast messages? The absolute star of the show is the neuron, also known as the nerve cell. Our entire nervous system is just a massive, tangled network of these tiny cells, all designed to pass information along as little electrical zaps. So how does this signal actually make its journey? It's like a really cool 4-step relay race. First, the signal gets picked up at one end. Second, that triggers an electrical impulse that just zips down the length of the neuron. Third, when it reaches the end, it releases a little puff of chemicals into a tiny gap. And fourth, those chemicals kick off a new electrical impulse in the next neuron in line, and the race just keeps going.
Okay, let's zoom in on that tiny gap, which is called a synapse. This is where it gets really clever. The electrical signal can't just leap across. To get to the next neuron, it has to convert into a chemical message. This chemical handoff is so important. It makes sure the signal only goes in one direction, and it creates these little control points where the message can be changed, which, by the way, is the basis for how we learn and form memories.
So reflexes take care of the super urgent stuff. But what about, well, everything else? For all the things we actually choose to do, from walking across the room to speaking, we need a central command center. We need the brain. Exactly. Things like writing a text, talking to a friend, or even just deciding to get up. These are all voluntary actions. They need you to process information and then make a choice. And that's the job of our central nervous system, the brain and the spinal cord working together. Now, the brain isn't just one big blob of gray matter. It's got different departments with different jobs. The forebrain, that's the main thinking part, the CEO that processes what you see and smell. Then you've got the midbrain and the hindbrain, which are kind of like the building's operations team. They handle all the stuff you don't think about, like posture, balance, and even breathing.
And here's a perfect example of that. Anytime you ride a bike or pick up a pen or even just walk in a straight line, you have your cerebellum to thank for that. It's a part of the hindbrain that acts as a master coordinator, taking what could be clumsy movements and making them smooth and precise.
All right, so animals have this amazing high-speed nervous system. But that brings up a really interesting question. What about plants? They don't have nerves, they don't have muscles. So how in the world do they react to things? At first glance, the difference seems pretty obvious. Animals are fast, using nerves and muscles. Plants are usually slow, using chemicals and changes in water pressure. But what if I told you that's not the whole story? What if some plants could move just as fast as an animal? Yeah, it's not always true. Just look at this incredible touch-me-not plant. The moment you touch it, its leaves fold up in a flash. This completely shatters that whole idea that plants are slow. But how does it do it without any nerves or muscles? It turns out plants use a strategy that's amazingly similar to ours: electrical chemical signals. When the plant is touched, a signal travels from cell to cell, telling them to rapidly change shape by dumping the water out of them. As the cells lose water, they go limp, and the whole leaf just folds up.
It's basically a brilliant, high-speed hydraulic system. Of course, most plant movement isn't quite that dramatic. Most of it is connected to growth, like the classic example of phototropism. You've definitely seen this. It's just the way a plant on a windowsill will bend and grow toward the sunlight. And this bending isn't magic. It's a really clever chemical trick. A plant hormone called auxin is made at the tip of the stem. But auxin is a little shy. It doesn't like light. So it moves over to the shady side of the stem. This buildup of auxin makes the cells on the shady side grow longer and faster than the cells on the sunny side. And the result? The whole stem can't help but bend toward the light.
And that idea of hormones, of chemical messengers, isn't just a plant thing. It's a universal principle. So let's bring it back to animals and see how this chemical system works right alongside the nervous system to give us another layer of control.
Think about it. If a squirrel sees a hawk overhead, a nerve signal that just tells its legs to run isn't going to cut it. Its heart needs to pump faster, its lungs need to take in more air, its entire body has to get ready for action all at once. And the nervous system's point-to-point wiring is just too specific for that kind of widespread alert.
And that is where hormones come in. Hormones are chemical signals that get released by glands right into the bloodstream. So instead of sending a private text message, they're like a public broadcast announcement. They travel everywhere the blood goes, delivering a message to any cell in the body that's able to listen. This whole chemical network is called the endocrine system.
A perfect example is the fight or flight response. When you get scared, your adrenal glands flood your body with adrenaline, and that one hormone coordinates this huge body-wide response. Your heart beats faster to get more oxygen to your muscles, your breathing rate goes up, blood even gets rerouted away from things like digestion and sent to your arms and legs instead. It's the body's ultimate survival prep. So when you put it all together, it's pretty incredible. We have lightning-fast reflexes that bypass thought, and we have slow, deliberate actions controlled by our brain. We have targeted electrical signals and widespread chemical broadcasts. It's this beautiful, complex dance of control. Which leaves us with one last really fascinating question. With all these different systems working together, who or what is really